Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniature. It's been a while since I've had a chance to talk much about 3D printing because, well, my printer decided to die on me almost as soon as I got a hold of it. So I haven't really had a chance to do much printing, but I did do some that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet. And that's actually Battle Yak Miniatues Sharkzerkers. So you guys, if you've ever watched these videos that I've put up, you probably know by now that I'm pretty fond of things that aren't human. And going back to when I was younger, I can remember seeing things like street sharks on TV, being as JAWESOME as they were. I've always been a fan of stuff like Battle Beasts and stuff like that, and yeah, I know I get accused of furrydom, but whatever. That's beside the point today. Nobody has really made cool-looking shark people for the tabletop. Now, admittedly, there's been a few here and there. I know Reaper put out quite a few, in bones. But a lot of those were just resculpts of earlier metal models, and their big giant dude was actually resin, because I remember working with them and swearing up a storm trying to finish putting them together. And outside of that, there's been a few here and there from Cool Mini when they were doing Wrath of Kings, but nobody really does good Sharkmen. Now, Mears has talked about doing them in the future, but I'm going to wait and see on that. I hope they follow through on that, because that could be pretty cool. But for the time being, at least, we've got the Sharkzerkers here from Battle Yak Miniatures. Now, these were an earlier release of theirs, but one thing that I've really liked about everything that Battle Yak has done is there's been a real lot of modularity and posability in terms of how they've made their models, and they've only gone even better since this. Now, these guys actually came before the Phylark, Eldrarch elves. Phylark is something else I'm thinking of. But these are big models, okay? They easily could fit on a 50mm base. In fact, I've got one of the bases here, nicely encrusted with barnacles and fishies. And you can see here, he definitely fits that quite well. So if you've got access to a printer, they do have a whole set of them. I tried printing a couple others. This one, unfortunately, was the last one I was able to print. His brothers did not print as neatly or as nicely. Here's one right here. You can see same face. Actually, I think this is a different face, come to think of it. He's got a stub nose. There were a few facial variations, and I know if you wanted to go ahead and print them with the hands on, which we'll look at in just a moment, that is an option as well. But they are just absolutely covered in detail. Really, really nice looking and big. I tried hollowing this guy out, and it didn't work as well as intended. And then there was this first mishap. His body actually turned out really well for the most part, but then there was his face. From a side profile, it looks fine, and then it looks okay. But I think, it looks like his jaw got broken and didn't set correctly. So, at this point, I figured let's just roll with it. A failed print is better than no print at all, and why not learn from those mistakes? Happy little mistakes, right? So you can see they don't have any hands. Well, that's because I haven't bothered to glue them, and I don't like playing with Mesh Mixer or Blender to put the hands on. I'm old school. I like to glue it. And I gotta say, one of the things that I've really liked about Battle Yak is they have tons and tons of options. So we've got like big Megalodon punch daggers, rusty cutlasses, bill hooks, or a harpoon maybe. Good old-fashioned hitting clubs. Naturally, with sharks, we've got to have an anchor. Or two. Why not have two? Some chopping clubs. There's a regular harpoon. Heck, why even have a harpoon when you can have a harpoon hand, right? And I didn't even print all the options, and then they had some nice, big, nasty-looking flails like this. I know I had a couple more, but I'm going to go ahead. I wanted to just show these parts off before I actually glue and prime these guys. And we'll bring them back here in just a sec, along with some other fishy friends that I've got laying around, just to give you guys a good idea of what we are dealing with here. All right, I got our Sharkzerkers all put together and primed here, just to give you guys a nice size indication. And I mean, honestly, they are really, really well detailed models. They're like that weird kind of mix of cartoony and, overtly grimdark, I guess. I really dig them. I love the scars. Sadly, my print jobs were not the greatest. Our wild friend here especially, he was a very early attempt, but it works. So as I was saying, these guys are big. They really are big. Those are all 50mm bases they're on. Let's grab some humans just to prove my point. Mantic, Basilian, good old Bloody Bradigan Pit. Our Inquisitor, as always. Kenshiro, because, you know, remember that time Kenshiro fought a shark? I don't, but anyway. Taban or Happy Games Factory's Eden stuff tends to be a little bit on the bigger side. But they're big, they're bulky, and they're cool looking. If you were going to do any kind of a Kings of War army, for example, I think these would be great additions to any unit. They're just big, massive, mean-looking stuff. Heck, use them as ogres or something. The only comparable model I can think of are some of the Hadros stuff from Wrath of Kings, but I really liked the Pit Fighters when they came out. They were all completely unique sculpts, but these guys just, to put it mildly, blow them out of the water. Yeah. So again, this is more what I expect when I think of giant shark people versus... Not to knock the Wrath of King stuff. If you guys have heard me ramble on before, I'm a big fan of Guiton's art, but yeah. These are just fun. So do take a look. I'll put a link down below to Battle Yak's My Mini Factory page where you can get a hold of these. They've got the bases that match them as well. There's tons of options. Like I said, I didn't even print everything. And I'll put a link for his Patreon page as well. He's got all kinds of interesting, funky stuff coming out constantly. So do take a look if you are in the mood to print something cool. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamerlane with Obscurities and Miniatures. Saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.